Welcome to New York City, and welcome back to Dad and John. Today we're headed to the Borough of Kings to see this spring's beautiful cherry blossoms at the iconic Brooklyn Botanic Garden. We head across Eastern Parkway for a scrumptious soul food lunch, and then cap off our Brooklyn adventure with a pit stop at a famous bake shop for coffee, delicious donuts, and another one of Dad's taxi stories. First, the 52-acre Brooklyn Botanic Garden and its outstanding flowering cherry collection, currently at peak bloom this warm spring day. The Japanese Hill and Pond Garden, opened in 1915, is one of the oldest and most visited Japanese-inspired gardens outside of Japan. For a 110-year-old garden, it is a stunning space. Flowering cherries bloom at the garden from late March or early April through mid-May. Each tree remains in flower for just a week or so, and there is no time when all are blooming at once. The very first cherry trees to blossom usually do so at the same time that the daffodils bloom. The rest of the cherry blossoms will appear in the 4 or so weeks following this first bloom. Down a couple of blocks from the gardens is the Brooklyn outpost of Cornbread, a wonderful soul food restaurant on the corner of Bedford and Eastern Parkway, where we settled in for some delicious cooking and sweet tea.
When was the last time you were at the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens?
Okay.
You gotta tell me.
When, about 50 years ago.
50 years ago?
Yeah.
Barbecue sauce?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Oh, they got barbecue sauce. Oh, Sweet Baby Ray. Oh, yeah.
Let's see, what do you got in there?
I did.
Chicken and waffles. Here's more syrup. Oh, some hot sauce. Hot sauce. I got fried catfish and yams. So what do you think of the chicken?
It's delicious. It is unbelievable.
I'm so hungry. I'm going to dig into mine right now. Okay. The fish is superb, but this fried chicken is off the hook. What was it like when you left the Bronx for boot camp for the very first time?
Went down to Whitehall Street,
Yeah?
and they threw us on a bus. And the bus took us all the way out to New Jersey, south. And we wound up in Fort Dix,
Okay.
which is next door to McGuire Air Force Base. And we got settled out there, and they took a company picture with all the guys that were going to be in your unit. And I don't know anybody,
Of course.
but I did make a friend, a guy by the name of Nick Triforis. His father was a florist. He owned a store on 125th Street, Lenox Avenue. Matter of fact, he supplied the flowers for your mom and my wedding.
No kidding.
Yeah. And he became my friend. And we went down, we did a boot camp. You know, it was 8 weeks of boot camp. He came from the Bronx.
Right.
That's why I connected with him. Great guy. And then I met Nick again when we were being processed out. Became friends. We wound up going upstate for our 2-week during, we were in the Army Reserve.
Okay.
So we had to do 2 weeks in the summertime at Fort Drum, which is near Watertown, the Canadian border, way, way north. And that was fun, because we were supposed to go up by truck with the group, Army. And your mom and I had just got married, and I wasn't going to go up. So we came back from our honeymoon, and 2 days later, Nick picked me up with his car, and we drove up there. As soon as we got to Fort Drum, we got court-martialed. We were AWOL for 2 days.
Oh.
Absent without leave.
How'd that turn out?
Well, they broke me. I got busted, but I made it back.
Okay.
PFC.
Yeah. Oh, what a shame.
And as punishment, the company commander told us that we had to clean a mortar that was full of grease and stuff. That's all I remember about that. And I said, this is weird, because we wound up in an infantry unit, and both of us were medics. When I was on active duty, I was a medic in a hospital.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about mortars and shooting and,
Armaments.
No, we were medics.
Ballistics.
And we protested. And we were out in the field, and I remember a huge porcupine walked by, and everybody was afraid of it. They thought that you could get stung by the quills.
Yeah.
I mean, these were all city guys. They don't know from animals.
Right. Excellent. Okay, let's go get some coffee.
Over on Vanderbilt Avenue is Dough Doughnuts, a bakery with several locations in the city, known for its artisanal brioche-style donuts, excellent coffee, and a great vibe.
So what do you want? A small black coffee?
Mm-hmm.
2 small coffees, one with just milk and one black, no sugar. And there's a couple of donuts.
Boston cream pie donut. Look at that.
Isn't that a beauty?
It's beautiful.
You got LaGuardia. I pick up a guy from the American Airlines terminal. He comes out, and he's got a big duffel bag When I went to put it in the trunk, and it's filled up with all kinds of baseball equipment, and bats, and gloves, and baseballs, and it must have weighed about 50 pounds. I threw it in the trunk. He says to me, "Can I sit in the front with you?" I said, "Yeah." Just one guy. Young guy, maybe in his 30s. So sat in the front with me, got in. And I said, "Where you going?" He says, "Yankee Stadium." He says to me, "You know where it is?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I think so." Then I started going, got out on the highway heading for the Triborough. And he's telling me, I said, "You're a baseball player, huh?" I says, "I'm a Yankee fan." He says, "Oh, I used to play on the Yankees." So he says, I didn't know at the time. I said, "Yeah, well, who?" He says, "I pitched for them, Dave Rigetti." I said, "Holy mackerel." And we started talking. And he says, "I'm really nervous." He says, "I just come up from a minor league in Tennessee." I said, "Who are you playing for now?" He says, "White Sox. They called me up. I'm going to pitch the second game of a doubleheader." And he says, "I'm nervous because I haven't pitched in a while. And I have to pitch in front of Yankee fans."
Of course.
Now he's on the opposing team. I said, "What are you nervous about? I remember you pitched a no-hitter once on July 4th. Yeah. He said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "You're right."
What a game.
We drove to Yankee Stadium. I had to go in a player's entrance. Carrie took his bag, carried it. They didn't allow me into where the dressing rooms are.
Sure.
But just as like a staircase. And a guy in there said, "Just put it down there, Campy." And I put it down, and he came back to pay me. Gave me a nice tip. And he says, "Yeah, you know what?" He says, "Nice talking to you." I said, "Good luck, Dave." And he goes, he won the game.
Of course.
The next day, I was telling the guys what happened in my garage, in the shape-up room. So, all of a sudden, this guy comes over and says, Hey, Tess, he says, "I got the news." He says, "You're in the news." He says, "Dave Rigetti." He says, "You picked him up?" I read the story. He said, I have to thank the cab driver who told me not to be nervous."
Oh,
Me.
that's terrific.
And he won the game.
Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed our stroll around beautiful Brooklyn, its superb botanic garden, and a few of its wonderful places to enjoy nature, eat, and drink. Thanks for coming along. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you for the next one. Bye.